Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alpha Name. Let's begin right here with this article on thecryptobasic.com. As usual, there's a lot of interesting things going on. This article is titled, Patent Shows MoneyGram Aims to Use XRP in Cross-Border Platform, but experts remain doubtful. We discussed something like this last year, and I said, and it wasn't just about XRP. It was about a lot of utility coins where people step back from them once, companies step back from them once they redeemed securities by the SEC. AMP was another one. If you remember the finance coins like AMP and Alchemy Pay, I think it was Alchemy Pay, stuff like that. There was a few of them. And we had postulated that companies could step back in. Why wouldn't they be able to reignite partnerships once there's clarity? I think that's definitely on the table. That's something that we discussed. And this article here is going to sort of support some of that idea. So now, I mean, the product is still good. So why would, if at that time, the only reason you have is to step back because of the SEC lawsuit, then once the SEC lawsuit is over, then there is the possibility to step back in. I think that's logical. So it begins here. It says, recent claims highlight a patent filed 2 years ago by MoneyGram, which suggests the firm's plan to use XRP for a cross-border platform, but experts remain skeptical. It says here, claims of MoneyGram potentially leveraging XRP for an upcoming proprietary cross-border payments platform have recently gained traction. These claims cite a circulating patent filed by MoneyGram nearly 2 years ago. However, experts have questioned the veracity. Could you imagine them using both XLM and XRP? I know they have this whole USDC thing, but trust me on this, in the future when USDC, and don't get me wrong, USDC definitely brings some good traffic to the Stellar blockchain, which is going to bump that surge pricing up. Sure, all of that good stuff. But the world is dollar dumping. They're not going to want to use USDC. Most of the world is not going to want to use USDC if they're dollar dumping and de-dollarizing. They're going to want to use something else, and XLM is on the table. So XRP and XLM and an MBDC, MCBDC packaged together is something powerful. But let's keep going. Let's keep reading here, okay? It says XRP community is skeptical. Well, we question everything. All right, there's no problem with that. This is how we come up with ideas. It says Cowboy Crypto. Shout out to Cowboy Crypto. A Texas-based XRP community influencer previously retweeted one of these claims. However, he noted that he had retracted the move as he could not find substantial evidence supporting the document's authenticity. Well, that happens with a lot of different things. A lot. These companies make it very difficult to know what they're doing solidly. A lot of the times they do. Heck, they'll put out a document and then they'll delete it. I've seen that as well. So, but it doesn't mean that there's not the possibility here. Most of what we deal in here is possibility, right? And we take the data and then we try to make an accurate estimation individually on what is to come. But let's continue on here. It says, however, the influencer acknowledged a fascinating aspect of the supposed patent, the involvement of Bart Van Hoek, a Texas-based machine learning enthusiast. Van Hoek worked at MoneyGram as the company's head of product innovation from September 2018 to November 2021. Now, wait a minute. Let me pause there. I want to throw this thought out there before I forget it. What is the possibility? Because remember, we had a document that we looked at, and a lot of people downloaded it and screenshotted it, and it showed that MoneyGram had four big banks they were working with. I forget the title for those banks. Those banks had a very specific designation. What if, just a what if, okay, maybe this doesn't happen, and I'm just totally just throwing a thought out there. What if they use XRP for wholesale between those big banks, but they use XLM for everything else, or Stellar-based systems? I don't care how they use Stellar, as long as they're using Stellar, and they are, that's all I care about. But let's play that XLM game. They use XLM for retail and everything else in the future. What about that? That would be massive, major. But let's continue on here. It says, in addition, Van Hoek's position as head of product innovation further suggests that he is the appropriate individual to invent such a product for the company. I mean, I don't know what more you would need than this. It says, a more interesting detail is that Bart Van Hoek now works as lead product manager at Ripple. Look at the connections. So this individual used to work at MoneyGram, was in charge of all their products. Now, or what was it? What did it say? Yeah, he was head of product innovation, and now is the lead at Ripple, and is the lead project manager at Ripple. Come on, now the signs are too clear. But like I said, I'm trying to stay balanced. Maybe nothing happens with it, but they have all the connections. Why do you think that is? So they have connections to the federal government that they're not going to use. They have connections to the IMF as well as they're on the advisory board that they're not going to use. They have connections with the U.S. Treasury. They have connections with MoneyGram that they're not going to use. All of these acquirements, all of these people they brought in is very strategic for what should be theoretically an absolutely brilliant future. Simply, it's just like, look, Ripple and Stellar are doing the same things, just in different arenas. Look, all right. I want to say more, but you know, just my thoughts. That's all. Just my humble thoughts. The MoneyGram patent says here, as of press time, community members have tendered more evidence that seeks to substantiate the claims. An official document from the United States Patent and Trademark Office corroborates the authenticity of the patent itself. Listen, I said this a long time ago. And yes, I'm going to interject my thoughts. That's the point of having a channel. XRP, I personally believe, not financial advice, is going to be much bigger than what people anticipate. XLM is going to be much bigger than what people anticipate. And I think Algorand is going to blow people's caps off, blazers off. I've felt that way since the beginning. I remain in that position. Per information from the document, MoneyGram filed the patent with the number 11,568-489B1 on September 15, 2021. However, the USPTO approved the patent on January 31st, 2023. Interesting, isn't it? Data from the US-based legal platform Justia, which we've used before, also suggests the existence of the patent. I think we got the patent for Ripple from Justia, correct? Right? When we went over, though, we did a couple of videos on the patent, the on-demand liquidity patent. So the patent encompasses an automated international transaction system. The system consists of two pivotal components. All right. Oh, man. A commercial network linked to a wider resolution solution networks, a self-governing robot to carry out specific directives, and who has machine learning, who's been working with machine learning for quite some time. The XRPL. The patent notes that Bart Van Hoek is the inventor. Moreover, the patent information affirms MoneyGram's intention to utilize XRP for international payment settlements. Yeah, because they need the liquidity. Look at what's happening with the banks right now. And I have an article in one of the chapters, you can click and go there if you want to, that shows you they need all the liquidity they can get. They can't keep parasiting, the banks, I mean, they can't keep parasiting off of the federal government. And they have been. The banks aren't what you think. They're not strong. They're very vulnerable. People have no idea, but let's keep going. It says here, where did we leave off? Significantly, the currency conversion process involves a sequence from US dollar to XRP and then to Mexican peso. There's that bridge currency aspect. Once again, some XRP proponents remain skeptical, as they should. It's a 50-50 thing, but it's an interesting thought to play with. It's just something that you keep in the back of your mind. We have so many brilliant things going on. Success of XRP doesn't hinge on any one thing, you know, but it's something interesting to play with mentally. But let's keep going. Remain skeptical because they could not get up the patent by merely searching for it on the USPTO website. Then they just said they got it from Justia, didn't they? It's a reputable website. All right. It says, however, a community member disclosed that the search would need to involve a query on the USPTO public advanced search section. MoneyGram severed ties with Ripple. So now, here's a key element to all of this that sort of backs up what I was saying last year, okay? Companies can always reignite partnerships. It says, Part of the reason behind the skepticism is the severed relationship between MoneyGram and Ripple. Wait, let me skip that part. Bear with me one moment. I want to get to the important part here. I'm skipping a lot, but you can go to thecryptobasic.com to read the entire article yourself, okay? It says MoneyGram filed the patent 6 months. Wait, no, let's skip that part. It says, while the press release from March 8th, 2021 says that both firms, Ripple and MoneyGram, would be willing to revisit their agreement. It says there has been no official announcement. Instead, MoneyGram has turned to Stellar. Listen, I'm going to say there's a high probability they all work together. In the future, they all come together, forming a Voltron, the likes of which no one has ever seen. Why would they not? The opportunity is there. It's like gold is on the ground. Why wouldn't you scrape up some of that gold? Just my humble opinion, all right? You can disagree. I'm perfectly fine with that. You should know that by now, right? All right, so let's go here to another article. Okay. How's everybody doing out there? Hope you had a good week, a successful week, and I hope you're feeling good mentally. You're feeling well physically. So now, this article here is from U.Today, and it is titled, New XRP Ledger Wallet Unveiled by Ripple. Here's your ultimate guide. All right, let's see what they're talking about here. It says RippleX, the development wing of a prominent crypto payment company, has recently taken to Twitter to remind the public about the upcoming release of a highly anticipated browser-based wallet for the XRP ledger. It's called Crossmark, I guess. It says the motivation behind the innovation was to simplify transaction signing and facilitate network transactions for developers. I think a lot of people are going to stick with cold wallets for a long time. All right, but so while an exact release date has not been disclosed, several noteworthy details have emerged from discussions with developers involved in its creation. Let's scroll down here past the tweet. It says, thus, Crossmark is a browser-first digital wallet built on top of the XRP ledger, providing comprehensive support for native features and transaction types. That's interesting. Users will have the convenience of installing Crossmark as a browser extension on popular platforms such as Chrome, Opera, and Firefox. So this could definitely come in handy for a lot of people across the world. They may not be able to get their hands on a cold wallet, and they may not even trust cold wallets. I have heard that before. There's a lot of people that don't want to custody their own things for a variety of reasons. I get that. I can respect it. So this is very interesting. But I will say, I think a lot of people will continue to use cold wallets after so many different things happen with hot wallets, right? But it's mostly with non-native based hot wallets. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? So then also another thing a lot of people have, and I think companies are going to shy away from, my apologies, is bridges, because bridges get hacked all the time. We talked about that extensively. So there's a few things. And you know, listen, the struggles that blockchain DLTs have gone through, in my opinion, is good because it has found out what its weaknesses are. And now those can be remedied, repaired, and gone away from. And then the ecosystems become stronger. That's how it goes, you know? You find out what you're not good at and you strengthen those areas. Crossmark will offer multiple onboarding options, including the generation of new wallets using a mnemonic seed, family seed, or secret numbers. Additionally, already existing wallets can be imported through these gateways. A notable feature is the compatibility with Zoom. So that's pretty interesting there. A lot of people like Zoom Wallet. Another XRP Ledger wallet allowing users to monitor their wallet balance and sign transactions using Zoom through Crossmark interface. We're very, very familiar with Zoom. The wallet is also designed to support upcoming side chains, including the XLS38D sidechain amendment and XLS30D native AMM amendment. Developer networks for these amendments have already been being incorporated into the wallet, ensuring compatibility and readiness for future advancements. All right, so now let's move on to another article here. So This article is also from U.Today. They're on fire. Make sure you check them out. We're just going to read this little tidbit here. Okay. This article is titled Ripple Debunks 5 Crypto Myths. Here's the astonishing part. Is that the title? It goes as such. In an insights report, Ripple clarifies 5 myths on the path to crypto adoption. The report titled 5. Okay. Why do they do that? I'm always going to complain about that. They reiterate the same thing from the top. And I never skip it. I always get caught up there. Ripple begins sharing a throwback to a historical event that happened in May 2010. Let's scroll down here. I just want to get right to the myths. The first myth Ripple stated was the erroneous belief that, quote, crypto is a fad, unquote. It went on to correct this illusion by stating that with all industry noise and recent market turbulence, it is easy to dismiss crypto as temporary. I don't think anybody who understands crypto would believe it's temporary. We know it's around for the long haul, especially as all the big companies are adopting the technology. The reality is that crypto and blockchain solutions have a real utility as everyday technologies across a wide range of industries, B2B solutions, and applications. This March, active blockchain addresses reached an all-time high of 15 million, doubling in 2 years as developers, gamers, and others leverage blockchain's extensive capabilities. Also, I want to say thank you to Matthew for letting me know that the microphone sounded good. I appreciate that because I was wondering about it. I adjusted it a little bit. We'll see how it sounds today. But thank you, Matthew. I appreciate you. It says the second myth is crypto is risky and volatile. Ripple explained that while cryptocurrencies are subject to market volatility, not all crypto-enabled solutions or digital assets are created equal. Stablecoins, for example, are pegged to a major currency such as the US dollar, meaning they typically have little to no volatility beyond the volatility of the currency to which they are pegged. The volatility is a great thing. The mainstream has tried to convince people the volatility is not a great thing. That's how money is made. The prices go down here. People buy it low. Then the prices shoot up again and they make some money. Then there's probably going to be another correction. It comes down again and people buy again. And then it goes up again and the people make some more money. That's how money is made. And because it happens so quickly, people have come up with a lot of different techniques to make a lot of money in crypto, especially in a true bull market. So the volatility is a good thing. What do you want the volatility to be low? And, it becomes like certain times where there's stagnation in the stock market, as an example. And then it's very difficult to make money. It's just a slow waiting game, like you're sitting on a boat fishing. No. And so the volatility is not a bad thing. Just the people have been convinced of that. And then they haven't been taught proper trading techniques. Most people want to be day traders or they want to be swing traders. There's not a lot of investors, long-term holders and such, right? So that's the first mistake, is that the people enter the market under the assumption that it's going to be easy, that there's no technique to making money with this volatility. But if they did have that, the volatility is a great asset to the people to make money very quickly and make large amounts of money that otherwise would be impossible to make. Just my humble opinion, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. All right. So now, says Ripple dispelled the third myth that crypto is not sustainable by saying it has become clear that crypto can contribute to greater sustainability gains, citing the XRPL, which is green by design and is recognized as the first major carbon neutral blockchain. Okay, we're going to leave off there. And once again, you can head to U.Today if you want to read the rest of that article. They have obviously there's 5 crypto myths. We only did 3. We're going to move on to another article here. And now we are getting into the stellar news. I know you saw that 11 cents. I know you saw that green earlier. That was interesting, wasn't it? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. So this article is titled Stellar XLM Outshines XRP. Why do they always have to compare XRP and XLM? Why? They go hand in hand. They're not in competition. They don't step on each other's toes. They quite well complement each other. There's enough money to go around. Why do they do this? People have this this dual mind where they just want everything to be in conflict. Let's read this little tidbit here. And that's just not the way that things are, Anyway, many cryptocurrencies are on a bullish tear today, but when comparisons are made, some assets solving the same problems are significantly outpacing others within their own ecosystems. wait a minute. Like, number one, XRP has been, or the XRPL has been concentrating mostly on wholesale. We just recently saw that CBDC platform come out where they were like, yeah, we're going to start focusing on retail a little bit. XLM for years has been dominating, setting up corridors, setting up mechanisms, setting up partnerships for retail-based CBDCs and stable coins. They've been dominating two completely different markets. They're in the same areas, but doing two completely different things. Don't get me wrong. There's some crossover a little bit, but they don't step on each other's toes. But let's continue on here. It may sound like I'm reiterating, but I'm just addressing what was in that first sentence. It says, riding on this note, Stellar XLM has outstripped its closest rival, XRP, in terms of price gains over the trailing 7-day period, per data gleaned from CoinMarketCap. According to their respective price performances, Stellar is changing hands at the price of 10 cents. It was 11 cents when I last looked, but that was maybe an hour or two ago. 10 cents atop a 6.73% growth in the past 24 hours. XRP, on the other hand, has seen its price slip by 1.22% to 46 cents, an indication of outpacing performance. Listen, after that article we covered in the last video, if you didn't see that, watch that last video. I think it was the last video where we talked about some of the comments from Franklin Templeton. The future is very, very bright. All right. That's all I have to say about that. And I think a lot of people are starting to catch on like, wait a minute. If all these big companies are supporting Stellar, United Nations, they're getting phone calls from the White House. Yes, I'm going to keep saying that. Franklin Templeton's running all over the place. Like I said, see that video yesterday for that article. Click on that chapter. And Franklin Templeton is saying, well, blockchain is the future. Blockchain is great. We're going to use it more. We think that a lot of our top clients want to invest in blockchain, which is obviously the utility coins. And Franklin Templeton is using what? Stellar. And they said that they believe that the uses are going to expand. I think a lot of people are starting to see there might be a bright future for Stellar. Of course, it's going to take time. Everything's going to take time because of SEC and regulatory clarity, all that good stuff. That was another thing Franklin Templeton said. They said they think things are going to take off when there's regulatory clarity. So I think people are starting to see that a little bit, but who knows? Just my humble opinion. Stellar's stability, on the other hand, has enabled a definitive growth surge that has proven difficult for XRP to keep up with. What? Okay, all right. This person must definitely be a diehard XLM person. Listen, I'm well diversified. No matter who wins, which one of these bank coins wins, I win. I'm very happy with that. I think they all will win, as there's no reason to pit them against each other at all. So specific Stellar fundamentals. Stellar blockchain has been paying a lot of attention to improving functionality of its outfit, with one of his last efforts being Protocol 20 upgrade. Upgrade will impact transaction submissions on the protocol. We went over that the other day. Stellar continues to become an absolute juggernaut. And when the next bull run comes, I think we're going to see something special, my humble opinion. But if you saw what it did last bull run, I'm telling you, when we got into this, go look at what what XLM's price was when we got into this, right? It was like February of that year. And then look where it went at the peak of the bull run. Do you think it can do a little bit more than that next time? Maybe a lot more than that. When we get a true bull run, right? And especially one minus all of this manipulation from the SEC. You saw what they did with the BlackRock ETF and all of that. A true bull run with no blockades. I think we're going to see something special from most of the bank coins, if not all of them. Now let's move on to another article here. All right. So this next article here is from the dailyhodl.com, and it is titled US dollar weaponization is sending countries scrambling for alternate currency, says IMF official. Now, this is why I'm saying that USDC and all of these stable coins, these type of things, they will have their place, sure, but they can't go that far into the future because the future is going to be adverse to the US dollar. These other countries don't want to use the US dollar anymore. But let's read this report, which is very good for the new financial system. for XRP XLM based systems, wallets. Let's continue on here. For the common currency, that is the BRICS nation common currency that will need a bridge currency in order to interact with the West. And the West will need bridge currencies to interact with the East. Neutral bridge currencies. Says the International Monetary Fund's executive director for Russia says the West's decision to lock out certain countries from the global payment system is forcing many nations to look for a substitute currency. This is important, people, not only because of the reasons I just said before, but this is important because of the dollar's value that everyone in the United States is getting paid with. There's already massive financial problems. And I don't care what the data says, the government says, the people are struggling. They're struggling to buy homes. They're struggling to pay down their debts. They're struggling to buy food. So the dollar's worth is very important to watch. This is why so many people have been buying up gold to preserve their wealth, silver. And this is why the banks have been buying record amounts of gold to protect themselves. And what's at an all-time low? Their dollar reserves. What's at an all-time high? Their gold reserves. Look it up for yourself. Right? All right, well, let's continue on here. It says, Alexei Mosin says the world has witnessed how the U.S. and its allies use economic and financial sanctions to penalize, redacted, for its war in, redacted, according to a new report from Sputnik. According to the IMF official, the use of sanctions as a stick is creating a more divided global economy. Like I said, it's going to be a multipolar world. A lot of experts have said there's going to be a multipolar world. Quote, the blatant use by the West as a weapon of international trade finance, as well as the dollar and the euro itself, makes the fragmentation of the world economy not only inevitable, but also irreversible. In March 2022, the West imposed, we know about the sanctions. We know about his connections with SWIFT. I'm skipping a few parts here. Mosin says the weaponization of the dollar is pushing a number of countries to bypass the American currency. That we know. We've covered that extensively. A lot of them are using renminbi right now to trade, okay? Yuan. Quote, the Americans themselves have created a situation where the search for alternatives to the dollar has inevitably started. And now, well, it's being implemented as well. And now we see how it's happening. We see that Iranians, Brazilians, and Saudis are already switching to trade in yuan. I just said that. See, we stay on top of things here. Trade in yuan, not only with China, but also with third-party countries. In May, reports surfaced that China has inked deals with dozens of countries to settle $582.3 billion worth of global trades in yuan, and in an effort to circumvent the dollar. Just keep in mind, the renminbi, the yuan, is just a placeholder for that common currency they're working on. All right? Earlier this month, Andrei Kostin, the chief executive of Russia's second largest bank, said that the yuan could end up dethroning the dollar as China appears to be on the path of removing its strict currency restrictions. Keep an eye on that. That could be major, major. And don't get me wrong. I know some people are going to say, well, China's having having certain economic stresses and problems. So is the West. Everyone around the world. There is a global economic stress right now. There's no way around that. All right. So now let's move on to another article here. So I'm going to skip 3 articles and I'm going to keep this video just a little bit short today. I'll post the other articles in the members only section for you to read. So make sure you head over there. Okay. We're going to end off with these 2 articles here. Now, this article is from Cointelegraph.com. I wanted to get to this one. It's titled Federal Reserve's Banking Bailouts Reach a New Weekly High of $103 billion. And the banks, they say the banks are healthy. Oh, there's no stresses. Then why are they still parasiting off of bailout money. They're not doing well. Well, they're going to need the liquidity of XRP. They're going to need the connectors of Quant. They're going to need the low, cheap fees and the control of Stellar. And they're going to need the brilliance of all the different NFTs and things that can happen on Algorand. I'm telling you. Anyway, the Fed's emergency loan facility has reached new highs as embattled banks. Oh, I thought they were healthy. This is what the reports are saying lately. All the banks, there's nothing wrong. See, you have to be careful with what they put out there. They will mislead you. I'm going to give you the raw truth of what I see from the actual data. It says embattled banks are needing a central bank bailout. This is continuous. It's ongoing. So the United States Federal Reserve's emergency fund for embattled banks has seen its highest level of distressed asset redemptions since its inception 3 months ago. The emergency lending program, known as the Bank Term Funding Program, BTFP, was introduced in March amid the United States banking crisis, which saw the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank, among others. The fund essentially is aimed at backstopping banks and other depository firms. According to data from the Federal Reserve of St. Louis, the Fed's Bank Term Funding Program has reached a record level of $103.8 billion in loans for the week ending June 28th. The milestone figure means that the Fed is still bailing out banks despite its attempts to reassure investors that the banking crisis is over. It's exactly what I was just saying. Exactly. I told you. They are lying. It's unbelievable. Nobody's holding them accountable, but we're exposing it here. So once again, this is why I continue to iterate this. They said over 900 banks were at risk. Some of them will not receive bailouts. This is something to keep our eyes on, especially because of commercial real estate. We'll get back to covering that in one of the future videos. But they're continuing to bail them out because they're having problems, which means what? The entirety of the system is propped up. It's a slow fall. They need the new financial system. The push for the new financial system to come forward and be regulated is going to accelerate because the banks know, a lot of big companies know, that the old system is pretty much over. They're going to need to congeal with the new system, and that's going to mean a lot of money coming into the new financial system, potentially. If everything continues on this trajectory, of course, there's no guarantees. Now, let's end off with a little bit of silver news. All right. I know we've been doing gold news for a little bit. I wanted to cover some platinum, but we're going to do silver today. So this article here is from LombardiLetter.com, and it says silver price could more than double. Yes, I agree with that. It's definitely possible given time because of certain catalysts. Oh, they're going to need a lot of silver in the world, definitely. It says silver isn't something that gets mentioned much in the financial press, but the gray precious metal could provide immense returns to investors in the coming quarters and years. The current silver price of $23 an ounce looks awfully undervalued. It is. That price is heavily suppressed. Says it could double, if not more, although patience is required. We know all about patience. Dealing with the bank coins, we've learned patience over this long period of time. So here's something worth noting before going into any detail. Silver is one of those assets that has a history of providing the biggest gains in the later stages of a bull market rather than the early stages. Initially, the price of silver tends to run up slowly. Then it eventually surges. Mind you, this takes years to play out. It's not an overnight phenomenon. Investors who get in early make the biggest gains. Those who get in late can receive decent returns as well, but their returns are nothing compared to the ones received by investors who had been waiting all along. Sounds like you talk about the new financial system. The same could be said about the bank coins. I'll tell you that. But similar could be said. I don't want to say the same. Similar. It says as it stands, silver seems to be in the early stages of a bull market. The initial run-up began in the late 2015 and early 2016 after the silver price collapsed from its highs made in 2011. Then in 2020, there was a retest. Silver prices dropped below $15 an ounce, made a low of $11.64. and remained below $15 for just a few weeks. The price of silver recovered extremely quickly. This was a sign that investors were willing to buy the great precious metal. With this, it looks like the level around $15 is a strong support level. Let's skip a little bit here. It says, what's ahead for silver prices? We'll read this little tidbit and end here. The recent silver price action suggests that the bullish sentiment prevails. In fact, the recent selling of silver could be a blessing in disguise. I've been keeping a close watch on the 50-week and 200-week moving averages. Both of these trend indicators are currently below the price of silver. This suggests that the intermediate term and long-term trends are pointing upward. And that's where we're going to stop. Once again, that's from LombardiLetter.com. So, now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. Shout out to Kai, shout out to Philip, shout out to Love Life 22, Matthew, Ahmed, Corey, Keith, Head Trauma, everybody out there. I appreciate you. Blockchain 663, Old Man Crypto. I appreciate all of you out there. Thank you so much for being here on the channel. Every single person that comes here. I hope you know that I have the greatest of respect and love for you. I hope you're doing well out there. So until next time, let's get to the money.